Hey everyone, it's Time Spiraled. We're here today with our Saturday custom night draft over here on MSEM. Today we're drafting Nangjiao and Bloom, a phenomenal sequel set to two other sets in the format designed by Canterbury Egg. There's a lot to love in this set, so I figured, hey, if we're going to be drafting it, why not do a quick stream? I'm going to walk you through the archetypes that you can expect, and then kind of go through my picks and talk about the set as we go. So, unlike my designer draft videos, this set is already in the format, so I'm not going to discuss it more from a theoretical standpoint about what I think about it, because it's already in the format, so you can already play with these cards in MSEM, but I'm going to talk about my picks as it is if I was playing in Limited. So, I will not actually be playing in the matches, I'm simply going to do the draft, but I may put up a spectated Nangjiao and Bloom limited match later today. So real quick, archetypes in this format, we've got white-blue artifacts, blue-black inspired, black-red resource grind, red-green ferocious, green-white +1/+1 counters, white-black aristocrats, blue-red big spells, black-green sacrifice, red-white fox typal, and green-blue activated abilities. Now, I tend to always try and go for the fox deck if I see something early, and unfortunately there really isn't. I don't think there's a single fox in this pack. What I'm going to do is just zoom in just a little more so you can all see the cards. And for the first few picks, I will scroll around so you get a chance. At any point in the video, just hit that pause button and you'll be able to see some stuff. So there's a lot of cards at all rarities that are really good in the different decks. I'm particularly a big fan of the gallery mechanic. They all have a pretty solid sort of enter the battlefield, and then you can get one or the other. So, for example, Royal Vignettes could either go up into producing bards whenever we cast sorceries, or looting if ever we cast instants. So not probably the card that I would want to pick right off the bat, but you'll see a lot of these galleries coming around, and they all have a lot of value to them. I think right off the bat, there's some lands that could be good, but I actually kind of like the Blood Sunsets, and I haven't had a chance to draft the blue-black inspired deck yet. So Blood Sunsets as an instant speed, as long as you control a creature, you can destroy a target creature is pretty good, and having a creature on the field tends to happen pretty often. And it's really nice to get your inspired cards to be able to trigger without having to attack. So we could always spend, forever looking at the different picks, but I'm going to go with the Blood Sunsets, and I'm going to try and draft maybe blue-black inspired. If you would pick something different, let me know which card here in this first pack one, pick one you would take, and then please post it in the comments below. So we're going to start with the Blood Sunsets and see what the next pack gives us. So right off the bat, we've got a few more galleries at uncommon. At rare, I see Xiuho, the Onyx Flame. Pardon my pronunciation, I am absolutely going to get some of these legend names and some of these card names wrong, but I will do my best. It is a flying 2/4 for 5. Whenever a player spends 1 or more mana to activate an ability that is not a mana ability, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then black-red, pay 2 life, it gains double strike, activate only once each turn, which would, of course, activate the previous ability. Now, you might realize that it says 1 or more mana, so, in Constructed, you can't just crack a bunch of fetches, but the card is quite interesting. And, it's a pretty big beater. Maybe on the front half it's not quite as good, but it could be in our colors even if you were trying to go for the blue-black inspired, because I'm not seeing anything at the upper rarities. Let's just scroll down a little bit. We're seeing some cards with the Golden Age mechanic, so that's if you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you've activated a non-mana ability, and you've attacked this turn, you enter a Renaissance for the rest of the game. In Limited, it's an actual cost. In Constructed, it's surprisingly easy to trigger, but these are actually pretty good cards, and once you get it online, you never lose it. I'm seeing good removal here in Scorching Dragonfire. Dare to Dream is alright. Altar of Twisted Piety brings back some pretty cheap things, and then lets us sacrifice to get some rather big cards. But again, not sure I want to go into big things. I'm willing to go into the sacrifice deck instead. Unfortunately, nothing in this pack directly feeds into our Blood Sunsets, but again, Blood Sunsets as being a piece of removal means we can fit it in any black deck. I think among the different cards I see here, I'm more than willing to hedge a little early, and let's go with the rare. Rares are exciting to play with. We'd have to look for cards that have activated abilities where we spend mana, but even if we don't get it, Scorching Dragafire probably would be a more correct pick, but for the sake of the fact that we can pick a lot of exciting things here, I'm going to grab this nice little black-red dragon here. Well, right off the bat, we've got one of these 3-color rares, so there's a few cards of the higher rarities that sort of will blend archetypes together. So in this case, we've got an inspired card where whenever the Emperor becomes untapped, we get to look at the top 3, one in the graveyard, one on the bottom, one on top. And then when he dies, we can put it on the bottom of our library, and if we do, we bring back a permanent card from our graveyard to our hand. So it's actually not super huge, as in I wouldn't like grab this right off the bat, especially being 3 colors. But it's not bad. It's not a bad card at all, and could be something that we play with our Blood Sun sets. But it would mean pushing out Xihyo. So maybe we can go get something a little different here. Leave the Den makes 3/2/1 white foxes, so if we were in the fox deck, that would be really fantastic, but I don't think that's the correct thing. Looking at the colors in the pack, black is drying up a little bit. We still have some blue, we still have some green. I'm going to stay flexible. You know, just for the sake of seeing where maybe these early picks lead us, I'm going to take the 3rd rare, and I'm going to see what keeps coming around. So again, red and green seems to be here a lot. You know, if you look back at the previous pack, we had quite a few. We are probably not a Wealth of the Flood, but having power 4 or greater is not too hard. It would mean giving up on some of these unless we're splashing that black. Let me see what else we have. So idols are fantastic for the power 4 or greater. So idols are a new custom token type artifact, kind of like blood or treasures or clues, where you pay 1, sack it, put a counter on a creature, but only as a sorcery. They're actually quite good, and you can get some stuff decently big. The Wilderkin Zealot here is quite nice. I do see an inspired piece here in Yenzu Disciple. I quite like Sanguine Muralist as just a very interesting card where it enters and gives a creature toughness 1. You know, I'm thinking Ferocious might be quite open. I'm going to grab the Zealot and see if that ends up being the case. All right, what do we have here? So we're staying very flexible. There's a lot we can do. Nothing's close to us. It'll really be the next couple of picks here that cement where I want to go. Something that lets us tap Rest and Relaxation. Hydrolyze is a sort of a remand. Violent Devotion is definitely not something that I'm picking here. Suitor of the Glade is all right, but slightly expensive. We've got a Festival Centrum for the activated ability, which could be interesting. Let's grab this. This could work with our dragon. Okay, blue seems to be open. I'm seeing some inspired cards like Festival Decorator, which is one of the reasons to go into. Cards like Horizon Glider. So, okay, a lot of blue and black still here. Some foxes. As I said, I really want to draft that inspired deck, so if that's where I end up being, I'm more than happy to shift back into that. Let's take the Festival Decorator as a pick, see if we can get more things in that similar vein. For example, whenever it becomes untapped, each opponent loses 4 life. Soul Engulfler. I see a Bloodfell Cave, so some of the colors of our duels are still coming around. Yenzu Disciple would be lose 1, gain 1. Alright, I'll take the Soul Engulfer here. Let's cut out some of the other stuff for now. We could be heading towards Sultai, so let's see what we got. Jungle Hollow would actually be a pretty good pick here. Prince Crab is fine as a 5-mana 3/5 that creates a treasure and an idol. Ornamental Longbow is also not horrible because whenever it deals combat damage, 1 damage any target can hit some important things. I'm going to pick up this Jungle Hollow here. Let's see what else we have. First Strike, we got a way to give haste in red. Black, we have draw 2 cards. Each opponent loses 2 life, we gain 2 life. Otherwise, we simply lose 2 life. The base case is not great. I actually think I prefer a Dare to Dream here. Dare to Dream being a soft piece of removal, but then if we manage to hit Renaissance, the owner puts it on top or bottom of their library instead. Remember, we need to cast an instant or sorcery spell, so we'll have to have a critical amount of cards with Golden Age, like instants and sorceries that have them. And then we'll need a non-mana ability and attack. Attack is obviously the easiest. Non-mana ability, something like this counts. So we'll see what else we pick up. So, all right, we had a lot of packs that were loaded up on our end, and we passed them on. I'm seeing some other interesting stuff. I think a white-blue deck could have been fine. Red-green still around. Especially the Ceremonial Jun and the Vinehorn Stag would have been fine. The counters and the equipment go well together. But I'm tentatively interested in seeing if we can push a little more on this axis here. So we got a few packs being stacked up to these players. We're going to have to wait a little bit for them to be thrown our way. In the meantime, I'm considering, well, for now, Emperor. If ever we shift into different colors, we could replace. But I'm pretty happy with what we have so far. I know it doesn't seem like much, and everything's at 3 mana, so we're going to look for earlier 1-drops and 2-drops to better facilitate the Blood Sunsets. We have some packs that are going to head our way momentarily. We were 7 drafters, so we're seeing packs a little bit earlier. Okay. I think here I'm just going to take a Dismal Backwater. I'm going to let these Ferocious cards, counter cards, sack all these red-green archetype cards pass, and I'm going to try and push. The fact that Leave the Den is still here means probably no one's aggressively forcing the Fox Typal deck. We're not ramping up to this Wealth of the Flood, unfortunately. Lamplight Tender could be okay. I'm not super excited to grab a Visit from Auntie right here. Draw 2 is fine, but losing 2 life, drawing 2 for 2 into black, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these going around. I think I'll grab this Lamplight Tender. If we get more instants and sorcerers, I'll be more than happy to have a Mana Dork, even at 2 mana that I can use. We're probably playing Festival Centrum. The fact that it has the activated ability on it is quite important for getting Golden Age, and then once it's there, it adds 1 mana of any color. So there it is. Yenzu Puppeteering came back. So I didn't mention on the first wheel over, but it enchants a creature, we draw a card, and then for 1 and a blue, we can untap it. So it's actually really good with our inspired cards, letting us declare an attack, pay 1 and a blue, untap it, trigger inspired. A lot of things we can do. And it is particularly good with the Blood Sunsets, but we didn't have a lot of the creatures at the time, but I'm very happy to pick up Puppeteering at this point. Dewdrop Oracle pulls non-creatures, but costs 4. Meanwhile, Sanguine Muralist as a flash 3/1, probably still not what we want. If we're going to have this non-creature density, I think I'm fine with the Dewdrop, though I am considering grabbing this second Jungle Hollow mana-wise. But because we're not 100% sure about running the Emperor, I would like to, but I think I'll grab Dewdrop Oracle. Here I'll take the Yenzu Disciple as an early inspired, and this Jade Plate Armor is neat, +2/+1, machetes are cool, but I'm going to put that in the sideboard for here, going into pack 2. Again, what would you have done differently? If you saw maybe a line, a draft that I haven't seen, please let me know. A lot of cards to look at, and of course I don't want to hold up the draft too much for those who will be playing. So when it comes to inspired, again, we're not seeing right off the top the cards that I'm particularly looking for, but we're seeing a few interesting things. Whoever's playing the Demon deck has a lot going for them. There's some Fox stuff going around. Flying 2/2 Golden Age is fine. Thornwood Falls would be, the third one that we need. Golden Age on the Bear. I don't think we're going for that 6 mana play. So Ruchong Awakening is a 3-drop, creates a 0/0 worm. This creature gets +1/+1 for each permanent card in our graveyard, and if ever we would draw a card, we can sack 2 lands, mill 2 cards, and if we do, we bring back Ruchong Awakening from our graveyard to your hand. Very expensive, probably not what we're doing, and I don't think we're filling up the yard quite fast enough for what that card is telling us to do. I'm considering picking up either another Dare to Dream. I'm also looking at Simply Arrogant Orator as a 2/2 for 3 that makes one of those cultist tokens, or Horizon Glider as a Golden Age enabler, and then giving our inspired cards flying. So I'll lean towards the glider. I'll pick up my first copy. I would like to see better inspired cards here. So rest and relaxation, obviously don't throw it on your own things. The fact that it doesn't untap during its controller's untap step is not great. So that's not what we're going to pick right off the bat. We're not probably sacrificing our Treacher, and Dewdrop Oracle is not looking super exciting right now with only 3. Yeah, the non-creature cards mean that it also can draw a land, but I would have liked something a little, I think, on the cheaper end. Again, we're seeing a lot of these really good red and greens, but I'd like to hold my foot down and see if I can pick up those cards. So I'll grab a second Dare to Dream. I'm sure we can see lots of the other Dewdrops come back. There's another one right off the bat. We have a Papier-Mâché Marvel, which is 2 and a blue, and we exile a creature. If we controlled it, we get a 4/4 red dragon. Otherwise, they get a 1/1 white bird. I quite like this card, and Showcase is a mechanic we haven't talked about yet. So you pay the Showcase cost, and if we cast it for its Showcase cost, we get the effect, but then we create a 1/1 red bard that cannot block, and we exile that card, and whenever the bard attacks, we get to cast a copy of this. So if you pay 5, you get a bard, and when the bard attacks, you can always target the bard if you want to get a 4/4 red dragon with flyer, but the flexibility on this is quite interesting. And in a pinch, we can use it as removal. Harmony of Blossoms, another Showcase card that makes a creature an opponent controls lose all ability and gets power and toughness, base power and toughness 0/1. Again, Jungle Hollow, Dewdrop Oracle. Still seeing a lot of these bigger red and greens. Artifact card with Glorious Wainwright is really interesting. It grows quite fast, especially when you're making an idol every turn, but I'll take Papier-Mâché Marvel and be quite happy with it. All right, I'm happy we have another Festival Decorator. I'd rather have, I think, the early Decorator for the draw cards, even though Bearer of Vile Incense is quite interesting because it makes the cultists. You get enough of them, you can pop off. I have a feeling we'll be able to wield a 6/6 for 6, considering the fact that we have some other big things here for now. We're not really ramping hard. I'm very happy to pick up a Decorator and keep cutting that off. We've got a Yenzu Puppeteering, which is fantastic. Parasol Twirler as an early flyer is cute, but we don't really have that kind of deck going. I'll grab another Puppeteering, and now I'm a lot more interested in seeing maybe another Dewdrop Oracle. These Puppeteerings are going to be pretty important. Speaking of, hey, a Bearer of Vile Incense actually came back. I think I will pick up this first copy, kind of as our late game big bodies. Getting the 0/1s is rather insignificant, but the fact that we can just keep leaving them up as blockers, and if we get to a critical point, we can sack them for demons. Do note the demons do not have flying. We will not be able to send them at our opponent's face. So 2 more packs on their way here. What do we have? Nightblade Umbra. Target creature gains Death Touch, and when it dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So the interesting thing about coming back into play tapped means we will trigger Inspired. That's quite nice. We could have a few more demons. I'm going to pick up maybe this first Nightblade Umbra. I think I prefer it over the counter spells and even the first Thornwood Falls. I want at least a single copy of it. All right, how are we so far? 1, 2. We have a few creatures. Let's see what we got. Chunk of creatures. It's trying to put basics in our deck right now, but that's fine. I still think Dare to Dreams are nice, but we're already at our second. Not sure we're running necessarily the third. I think in this instance, I will pick up my first Arrogant Orator. The fact that it has a little bit of synergy, it's a second body, it's fine. I'm not too annoyed. Of course, getting that actual 1 black sack 3 to trigger Golden Age is a little unlikely, but I think I prefer it over Ingwe's Admonition, and we've been seeing a lot of Dare to Dreams wheel and cycle around. Ruchong's still not what we're doing here, so not the card that I'm looking for. Alright, there's that Dewdrop. 2 sacrifice is probably not what we're doing. We don't really have the bodies that we want to throw away. So I'll grab the second Dewdrop. I'll be more than happy if it's pulling anything in this sort of section. So, and the fail-safe of pulling a land to our hand is not horrible. So being a 2/2 for 4 is not great. But the format's not hyper-aggressive enough unless everyone's secretly playing foxes. I'm comfortable enough. I think we can still do if... No, we don't really have a lot of the activated abilities for this card. So for now, I think we're just going to stick to what we have. Probably don't need a third Dewdrop Oracle. I think I'll actually take the second Jungle Hollow here. Try and get it for the Blood Sunsets. I'm actually going to throw them in the sideboard for now, just to see how many cards we have. I'm leaning really towards that middle. Probably want the 17 lands, especially because I'm digging with Dewdrop Oracles, and I'll want the extra mana for Yenzu Puppeteering to activate multiple times. So highly likely to be 23 and 17. So this Big Kraken came back as an 8/8 trample for 8 with Golden Age, creates an idle token, which is good for activating Golden Age. And it has Ward 8 if we're in a Renaissance. So I don't know if I'll play it, but I will take it, put it in the sideboard for now. I don't think that we can reasonably get to 8 mana. We don't have a lot of cards that make treasures. Lamplight Tender cannot tap for it. But Lamplight can tap for abilities and instants and sorceries. So for now that can stay. So we're seeing Bandit's Dagger come along. It gives Death Touch when we attack, so that's not horrible. And if we sacrifice it, we get to Thoughtseize someone that was damaged. I wonder if I prefer that. Let's check our artifacts again. Not really any treasures or idols, which means Parasol Twirler probably not. Let's take our first Bandit's Dagger. Not sure we're playing it. We'll put it in the sideboard for now. But it's more likely that I put it in, especially with the Inspired. A lot of these cards will want to attack. So, nothing here for us. Let's take this Fox and just stick it in the sideboard. I don't think I'm running Abandon the Past as a 4-mana counterspell. I will take this Thornwood Falls, and now that I have Thornwood, Dismal, and 2 Jungle Hollows, the splash for Emperor is really easy. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. Alright, still got room for about 5 more cards. Easily could cut a few of these to make room for some better cards, like Lamplight Tender could easily go. It's only casting Dare to Dreams, Paper Mache, Blood Sunsets for now. So 4 targets is not a lot. And the activating an ability doesn't seem like we have too many hits. Okay, Path of the Outsider is nice. When it enters the battlefield, we bring back a creature an opponent controls. Any creature, to its owner's hand, and then each opponent sacks a creature. So big removal. And then either we can pay for Evanescence, which would give us the ability to creatures to phase out, or, which is good, in our deck, or Anguish. Whenever a creature attacks us, it gets -1/-1. I quite like Path of the Outsider. I won't lie, I would really like a Ballad of the Forgotten. The fact that it gives +1/+0 and can't be blocked is very good for the Inspired deck, and the fact that we can play Showcase, and then it becomes a 2/1 can't be blocked is very nice, but I think we have a higher chance of finding a Ballad than we do of getting a Path of the Outsider, and it's such good removal. I'm very happy to have it. Sage of the Jade Baton, 1/2 for blue, can't be blocked by creatures with toughness 2 or greater, so it means it usually trades pretty well. When it becomes untapped, we loot. I quite like this. We don't have enough Showcase to run the Budding Couturière. Cerulean Sovereign tends to be phenomenal as a 3/2 flyer that when it enters, either we bounce a creature an opponent controls or bring back an instant or sorcery. But I think I want Sage. I want Sage to be one of our 1-drops. I want to be starting Inspired abilities early, Being able to line something up exactly from a 1 to a 2 would be nice. I don't think we're going to get Cerulean Sovereign back. I would be very happy if we did, but I don't think so. Scar Tattooist would be really nice as a 2/3 Death Touch that when it becomes untapped, a creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Umbra could come back. Dare to Dream could come back. If we could pick up one of the boats would be nice because it lets us trigger Inspired with crew, but it's not super needed. So the switching power and toughness can matter. This deck does have some 1 power or not that we're going to switch Soul Engulfer. That would be hilarious. Gui the Brine Bearer. As a tap, reveal the top card. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it back on top or into your graveyard and we gain life. Is actually quite good, and I'm willing to splash for it. We already have it. Warped Landscape triggers Golden Age is quite nice. I think I'll actually take this card. I'm more than happy to splash. We've got the green mana between our 4 tap lands here, so I'm willing to give that a shot. Here, quick browse. I'll read these those Lost to the Waves because it's just a cool card. Because enters, you search for an artifact card with mana value 3 or less, put into your hand, and then either it gives all equipped creatures you control +1/+1, or you can turn non-creature artifacts into 3/3 artifacts. So it does a lot. I do think I'm going to take this piece of removal and Rest and Relaxation, putting us at our 22nd card. But again, there's a few that I'd be happy to cut. Yenzu Disciple, working well with what we're doing here. Still a little bit low value as a 2/2, but we're kind of low on these early drops, and I kind of want to increase that amount. So I'm more than happy to take this one, and I think we're going to cut the Lamplighter for now. We have Order here. We've got a Sellsword as a 2/3 Menace Golden Age that can become a 4/3 Menace. Not horrible. I would like some more 2-drops, not going to lie. We're at about 1 card. At this point, I'm starting to cut things. And I would like to cut some of what we have. So I'm not sure how much bigger on the curve I want to go. Treasure Token and an Idle Token is quite nice. You know what? I'll take it. There's not a lot of stuff that has the power, 5 power. And I think going up to that 5th drop and getting both of those resources could be quite important. But I could see ourselves cutting it. Because there are definitely some cards that we've seen in these packs I would very much like to get back. Yanlian Opera, target creature you control becomes a copy of another one is quite nice, especially with the showcase. Means you kind of have like an attacking clone. But that Scar Tattooist is what I'm looking for here. As a 2/3 Death Touch that when it becomes untapped, something gets -1/-1. Probably what I want here. Probably means we're cutting at least 1 card. I do not think I want to be 16 lands here. Our curve really is leaning on here, and between Gui and all the other stuff. Answer could be cutting one of the Dare to Dreams and then putting it back in. Scar Tattooist takes out a lot of the... what's nice about it is the 1/1 bards that can tend to be running around with Showcase, so -1/-1 is not unimportant. The Arrogant Orator is not doing much for us, so that'll be my first cut, I think. We'll see if we can get another Scar Tattooist back. If yes, I will cut a Dewdrop Oracle, I think. The Scar Tattooist is quite nice. So if we can get one of the crew, one of the boats back of the vehicles, that's interesting, because it's good for our... On turns where we can't attack freely into the opponent's board, being able to tap them to cruise ships is quite nice. But I'm not surprised if it doesn't come back. What did come back, though, is Ballad of the Forgotten. So I will cut a... Problem is, it does fetch one of those. So maybe we... I think we still need a little bit on the top end, as maybe unexciting as they are. I think I do want 2 Dare to Dreams and a Rest Paper Mache. Like, the points of removal are going to be important. I will cut a Dewdrop. Just because the body as a 2/2 for 4 doesn't do a whole lot. Even if it draws us a card. If ever, we could tweak it. Okay, we've got a Scar Tattooist here again. Starting to be a little more interesting. 2/3 Death Touches hold off quite a lot in this format. And the untapped -1/-1 is just so good. But there's the boat I was talking about. So dropping a 4-drop boat after already having cards like Festival, Decorator, and stuff means that at the end step, if we just don't have anything to do, we can just freely tap them. It's just the Scar Tattoos have been really nice. I think I'm going to grab at least one of these. I find them really, really good. Everything that has Inspired just works off of it. So that's really quite nice. I'm not sure if I would run a Warped Landscape. It's a little expensive for what it does, even if it taps for a colorless. We've moved kind of past this in Canon Magic. I think I'll grab a Dirge of the Dam. I don't think I'm playing it, but it'll be in the sideboard. I'll take those Lost of the Waves in case that player is hoping for it to wheel. Here I will take Tranquil Cove, same reasoning. I'm not running it, but you never know. Gilded Sellsword, cutting. Opera, not running it here. And then a Dare to Dream. Wow, we were just covered in Dare to Dreams. So one more card to cut. I kind of really want to at least have a 6/6 that we can drop at the end. No offense. The Treasures is quite nice. How likely is it that we're going to hit Golden Age? Let's think. Our activated ability, a non-mana ability, could be the Crew, could be the Gallery, could be the Tap. We have a few. We have Instants and Sorceries aplenty, and we can attack. I think I want to leave this Horizon Glider here. And even though these are quite low impact, I like them as early drop inspired. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I really want to cut Dare to Dream? Because I do need that instant and sorcery density. Hard picks all around, hard cuts all around. Though Ballad of the Forgotten is quite important, I think, here for the Inspired deck. I think for now I will cut the Dewdrop Oracle. I know that's both. If ever I see that I'm really low on stuff, I think just the Processional Junk is just really important for this Inspired deck. We're going to throw in Jungle Hollow, Dismal Backwater, and where are you? I know we have one more. Thornwood Falls, 7, 5, and a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 green sources for 2 3-drops. I can see it. And they're quite important. I don't want these to be stuck in my hand. Yeah, I'm willing to go like this. So this is what I ended up with. Again, I really forced this Axis. I wanted to play blue-black inspired. I'm definitely missing some more early drops, some more. There's definitely a different build that I would have done for this. But I'm very happy that we found some of the cards that I really wanted to see, like Scar Tatuus. We saw the vehicle near the end. If you were following along and you think there's any other picks that you would have made, definitely let me know. I'm always happy to hear from others. And if not, I'll see you on some other videos. So take care and have a good one.